1-0 dash over the IronBirds, bottom of the third inning from Leidos Field at Ripken Stadium. Welcome back to MILB TV's free game of the day. Michael Marcantonini with you on the call. It's a really good one tonight. Trey Gibson, 3 innings of 1-run ball with 7 strikeouts for the Birds. And now Hagen Smith, the left-hander, who was the number 5 overall pick out of Arkansas in July, is out for the third time. Anutis Mordon, the 8-hole hitter, leads off. Catcher takes a breaking ball inside. Count is 1-0. Mordon, then Jalen Vasquez, then back to the top for Aaron Estrada. Well, when I talked to Arkansas pitching coach Matt Hobbs earlier in the week, I got a lot of good stories out of him. Mordon grounds one softly back to Smith, runs it over, underhand flip to first. 1 up, 1 down on the 1-3 putout. And one thing that Hobbs told me, I said, hey, what was your that's a big leaguer moment with Hagen Smith? And he said during his freshman year, Hagen started 15 straight weekends in SEC play as a freshman. He said that rarely happens. And he said, you know, Hagen's running out of gas late in the season like most guys. Said the team thought about moving him to the bullpen, limiting his innings. Team wasn't playing well at the time. Pitch misses up and in there to Jalen Vasquez, the second baseman. He got out of the way. It's 1-0. And so the Razorbacks go to the Oklahoma State Regional, working their way to Omaha. They were the 2 seed in that regional. They won the first 2 games. Then they lost to Oklahoma State to force a regional championship game. Hagen had already pitched in the regional, threw about 30 to 45 pitches, and the coaches before that championship game of the regional were going through which arms would be available. Vasquez swings and misses at a 2-1, or 2-0, it's 2-1. And they told the guys, hey, look, you know, when you wake up tomorrow, text us. Let us know how you feel. We want to see who can throw. 2-1 to Vasquez. Ground ball to the left side. It sneaks through into left center field. And Jalen Vasquez has the IronBirds' first hit. So that's the first hit that Smith has allowed as a pro. And it puts a man on with 1 down for Aaron Estrada. Birds down 1-0, looking for some runs. And so it didn't even take until the next morning for the Razorbacks coaching staff to hear from Hagen. He texted Arkansas head coach Dave Van Horn that night and said, I can pitch, I feel great, I want the ball. And Matt Hobbs, the pitching coach, wanted to be careful with him since he was just a freshman. So, you know, he wasn't sure if they were going to use him the next day. First pitch to the switch hitter Estrada, batting from the right side, takes a strike, it's 0-1. So it gets to late in the game the next day, the championship of the regional. So keep in mind, if Arkansas loses this game, they're done. If they win, they keep going. So, I mean, there's a lot at stake. Smith moves over to first. Vasquez is back. Gets to the 8th inning. The game is not going so well in that inning for Arkansas, but they have a 2-run lead with a senior pitcher on the mound who's thrown the ball well for them. So it's a guy they trust. But Hagen's out there in the bullpen as an option. 0-1 pitch to Estrada. That's low. It's 1-1. So it's the 8th inning. There's a runner on base against Arkansas. And, you know, keeping in mind the idea that, hey, if we lose this game, our season's over. So they call down to the bullpen, ask how Hagen's doing, says he feels great. They ask how many pitches would it take for him to get loose to possibly, if we need him to come in this game. And they said, you know, 15 pitches for Hagen. 1-1, swinging a foul tip into the glove of Harris. It's 1-2. And, you know, keep in mind, still a 2-run lead for Arkansas. Senior's in the game. He's throwing strikes, but he's not dynamic enough to get guys out the way they need to get guys out. But Hobbs said Hagen is. So they get Hagen up in the bullpen. He gets ready. Estrada, chopper over the first baseman Connor's head into right field. Vasquez, a sharp turnaround second, heading for third. Here's the throw. It's in time, but the tag is not. Throw to second. Estrada's in. Back-to-back singles for Vasquez and Estrada. The throw went to third, so Estrada got to second. And now the Birds have second and third against Hagen Smith with only 1 out. Great base running from Estrada there. Great base running from Vasquez as well. And the Birds have a chance to not only tie this thing up, but take the lead. So during this game, 8th inning, guys throwing well, but doesn't have the strikeout stuff. Head coach for Arkansas, Dave Van Horn, says, we need to put Hagen in right now. They put Hagen in, and Hobbs was a little worried about the situation they were bringing him into. Hagen hit the first batter he faced, then a bunt, then a walk to load the bases. There's a swing and a miss from Sosa, counts 0-1. And Hobbs is thinking to himself, this is a disaster right now. We got a freshman out there. He's not fresh. You know, what if we lose this game right now? But then all of a sudden, something clicked. Second and third now for the Birds with one out. 0-1 to Sosa outside 1-1. And Hobbs said, all of a sudden he was like, wow, we've got something different on our hands. He said, you just saw a switch flip with Hagen with men on base, a different look in his eye. And that's when things really got going for Arkansas late in that game. 1-1 to Sosa, hard stuff on the outside, it's 1-2. So once that switch flipped and Hagen got that look in his eye, picked up a strikeout, kept throwing fastballs, heaters. You know, I'm challenging this guy. Got another strikeout with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball elevated to get out of a bases-loaded jam. Then he went back out there for the next inning after that. 1-2, Sosa swings and misses. Ball gets away from Harris, but both runners stay put. First base was unoccupied. The throw down to first, and Sosa is safe, but he made a turnaround first, heading for second, and now he's tagged out. A lot just happened on that play. First base was unoccupied, so Sosa could go for it. He was safe. The throw was high and wide, and Connor couldn't hold his foot on the bag. But Sosa thought the throw got away, so he made a big turn to head for second. Then he realized the ball was still in Connor's glove, and diving back to first base, well, he was in no man's land there. So 2 outs, runners at second and third. Birds still down 1-0. So after Hagen gets out of that bases-loaded jam, he goes back out there, pitches a scoreless inning with 2 strikeouts. Arkansas wins, they advance, and that's when Hobbs knew that Hagen was different and said, man, he's going to do it, essentially referring to this guy's going to go play pro baseball. That's a future big leaguer. And Hobbs said for him as a coach, like, there have to be moments that stand out. Like, a guy has to have a moment. He can't just be pretty good and have talent. Like, there has to be that signature moment where you're like, okay, this guy's a future big leaguer. This guy's going to play pro baseball. Well, now Smith and Harris will talk things over with runners at second and third and 2 outs in the home third. Birds down 1-0. And he said, of course, the other moment that stood out was the second appearance of this 2024 season for Hagen, in which he struck out a program record 17 batters against Oregon State back in February. And that was just his second appearance of the season. It was at Globe Life Field, the home of the Texas Rangers, the defending World Series champs. And Hagen just straight up mowed down Oregon State, a team led by number 1 pick Travis Bazzana. Elio Prado fouls one back, and Smith gets in the zone after the mound visit. So just some really cool stories from Arkansas pitching coach Matt Hobbs. I really want to thank him for taking the time for that interview to dish out those stories to me. 2 down, runners at second and third. 1-1 is in for a strike. Breaking ball from Smith. It's 1-2. That 17 strikeout game for Smith against Oregon State. He got through 6 innings of shutout baseball, 3 hits, just 1 walk, threw 78 pitches, and 12 of his 17 strikeouts were swinging. Fastball on the inside corner, a called strike 3. Smith picks up his 3rd strikeout of the game, and he strands runners at second and third. No runs on 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left on. 1-0 dash over the IronBirds after 3. Smith with 3 shutout innings in his pro debut. Top of the 4th after this on the IronBirds Broadcast Network.